Hello, welcome to the All or Nothing podcast. Our official sponsors are KR Couriers and Transport Limited. This is a Northwest based courier company delivering all across the UK. They can assist in home moves and removals to large, heavy and bulky items, collections and drop-offs. Fast, safe and reliable deliveries. Please get in touch for a free quote. You'll find all the information within the description. Thank you. Hello everybody and welcome back to the All or Nothing podcast with myself, Billy Moore, and today's special guest is actor, boxer, Martin Hughes. You've had a colourful life, haven't you, Martin?
I think I have, yeah, Bill, to be honest.
So Martin, tell us a little bit about yourself so the audience can get to identify with your story.
Well, I grew up in Wavertree, around Smithdown Road. A pretty happy childhood, you know. Come from a kind of boxing heritage, well, a big boxing heritage. My uncle Tony Vero, was a famous boxing promoter, professional boxing promoter, and he actually trained Dick Tiger, the world champion, and Harry Scott, and so right from when I was a baby, I suppose I was like predestined to be a boxer, right from the when I was
from the cradle,
from the cradle, and I was a fat kid, and Tony used to call me Pope John Paul because I had a big bladder face, had a big fat face, but he always said he was going to make a heavyweight champion of me, but sadly, Tony died before I started boxing. I think if he'd still been alive, I'd have just turned pro right away. So I got to about 15, and I got in a few fights, and I wasn't handy. I was always getting done in, and my mum, it went off this time, and I ran away, and I left my mate, and the shame I felt about that was horrendous, and sent me into a big depression. And my bird finished with me because I was a coward, because she lived next door to the lad that I ran away from. So it's almost like, the insult that made a man out of Mac, because my mum took me up to Billy Mac's boxing gym on Tunnel Road, and he was a pro trainer, and he managed like Gary Lucas and Greg Evans and that, and it's a pro gym, and my mum took me there. And that's where I started, in Billy Mac's gym, training with the pros.
Is that where it was, Tunnel Road?
Tunnel Road is at the top of Smithdown Road. It goes into Lodgy, Tunnel Road.
Facing Chatsworth Estate.
That's it.
Yeah, it was all pebbles ash then, weren't it? All the blocks of flats and that. They were all
Chatty.
Chatty.
Well, that's where his gym was, Memphis Hall, right in the middle of Chatty.
Yeah.
And he had a pet shop, Billy, and he was notorious. He had the big painting outside. A bird and Max is worth two in the bush. Yeah. And he had a minor bird that it sang, and it had his punch-drunk voice as well. He used to sing, "When the lights come on again." And Billy had like one of those old Scouse voices. And his gym was great though, it was full of characters. It was like the gym out of Rocky.
Was it?
Oh yeah. And going in there when I was a kid, walking up the stairs, and you heard the skipping ropes going and all that. You walk in, and it was like, there's some hard-looking fellas in there, like Kevin Toohey. Do you know Kevin? He's like from the area, a bit of a hard case, bit of a minder. Greg Evans was really great light heavyweight. He won the ABAs, and he was training for a British title at the time when I started.
Because you started straight off in the pros, didn't you? You didn't have an amateur pedigree.
That's right. I just
no background in the amateurs.
Nothing. I just
no ABAs, no NABCs.
Nothing. No. I told Billy, like I said, I'm Tony's nephew, Tony Vero, because Billy was Tony's trainer and he's trained Tiger, so I thought I'll get looked after there. So Billy laced me up and just threw me in the ring with Gary Lucas, Gary was fighting pro at the time, And Gary knocked fuck out of me. I couldn't believe it. I thought like I'm Tony Vallero's, nephew. I'm going to get a little bit of a chiggy. And I thought I'd done something wrong. I thought I'd been set up. But anyway, every time I went to the gym, he made me spar with Gary Lucas right from the off. It was sort of like, back in them days, it was like 1940s sort of tough love, yeah.
See, because when I boxed, it was Paul King was my first coach. Never remember.
You're joking?
Yeah, so
Paul King was, when I went to speak, Paul was my trainer up there when I went to St Ambrose.
Yeah, so I was in St Ambrose, right? That was when it was all a green kit back in the bats,
Billy, I wore the green velvet up there. Wow.
So Paul, right? I was what? So you're like over 10 years older than me at least. I'm going back at the early 80s.
Yeah.
Right, and I walked in there and I remember Paul King gave me a pair of gloves.
Yeah.
And put me in the ring with this other kid. And all I remember doing was having me fucking hands up.
Yeah.
When I got out the ring at the end of, the sparring event, one thing I can say about you, Billy, right, is you've got a good guard. Right, because I was always getting fucking battered in school, right, and I was always putting my hands up, and that was it. I remember just going, fucking hell.
Yeah.
So, so Paul King was my trainer. Yeah.
My Uncle John trained John Naylor.
So your uncle?
Yeah, John
You're
Naylor.
messing.
Yeah, John Naylor.
Oh, hell, it gets better. This. So John Naylor, John George, and young Georgie. John, right? Yeah. So John was my coach.
Yeah.
Right, he got me my first fight, John.
Yeah.
In is it the New Montrose in Waterloo?
Yeah, brilliant.
And I remember I was at a point in me fucking training, right, man, where I was using the gym like the free, the fucking exercise machines that they've got in the gym, the bats.
They had one of those multi-gym things that you go around.
They had a multi-gym. I was using that, and I was more fucking thinking about building a few muscles than getting a fight, because I wasn't getting a fight.
Yeah.
Right, and I started to used to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'd go Monday and maybe Wednesday, and then I'd miss a day, and I remember John Naylor coming to me,
Uncle John,
down at the bottom of the bats when I was in this little multi-gym, and he went, he must have known, he said, look, you've got a fight coming up. It was my first fight. I had to have a medical, back in then. There's no nutrition.
Yeah.
You just jumped on the scales, you had a little card,
you
know what I mean, you wrote your weight down.
Yeah. And your nerves are shot.
And he matched you up. John Naylor, fucking.
Yeah. He had a great way with him though, didn't he, John? Calming.
Yeah.
And he had the hearing aid. And I remember he used to just switch the hearing aid off when anyone was doing his head and just smile at them. Yeah. I
remember like getting in the ring with young John. He turned pro.
Oh, he's a great boxer, young John.
As he punched my fucking head in.
You couldn't get near him.
No. Big long arms.
Yeah. Well, he's the boxing, the jockey champion as well, wasn't he?
I seen him a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
On Bow Street.
Yeah.
I've seen him in the gym a few times, not so long ago as well. It's like he hasn't changed.
I'll tell you a funny story about John. Young John, he was boxing this night, and these lads were fucking bullying him in the neck, because he was quite mellow. He was a great fighter, and dead rangy, as you know, the long arms and all that. Couldn't get near him, and anyway, these lads were fucking terrorising him in the dressing room before the fight. And he said to his dad, he said he's the ABA champion and all that. And his dad started laughing. He said, "You're the ABA champion," because he was the schoolboy ABA champion, yeah. And he'd been terrorising him, and he'd been like thinking. Yeah, but he was the champion. He forgot he was the champion. Yeah.
Fucking small world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Small world. To come to think of it, you look like John.
Do you think so?
He's the R fella, you know what I mean? So you've done the Ambrose as well?
Yeah. I boxed James twice, James War.
James, mate.
Yeah, it's a good mate of mine, James.
What a left hook James has got, mate.
Yeah.
Put you to fucking bed.
Yeah.
I've seen him punch that fucking bag and put holes in it.
Yeah.
Right, I've seen him punch something else and fucking put it to cape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've seen him taking out them and ripping them apart.
Yeah.
Every fucking.
But the sparring there, you had James and
Keith, Clarence,
and Derek was the best, you know. Southpaw. Derek would just come in. He's the Southpaw. He'd come in low and he'd whip the he ripped the left hand right over the top. He was really and made phenomenal fighter, Derek. Do you all wear and the sparring in that gym? It was like the Cronks. They went off. I used to spar Tony McLaughlin as well, and he was ferocious.
Well,
and Sid Goff.
I was in there as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like looking up to all these John, George,
yeah.
Clarence Keith, James.
Yeah.
You know, and who's the other one? Keith.
Keith Ward.
Yeah.
Keith,
they were all
boxing,
fighting. You know, they're all just a great family of boxers.
It's about, I mean, 7 of them, and they were all boxers.
The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, I know.
And they were all boxers. Yeah, so that was where, you know, so we've had a little bit of a similar background, different decades.
Yeah.
You know, how was your boxing career?
Well, I just went in at the deep end. I had 7 junior fights, and then I was sparring with the pros in Billy Max, and I was dead skinny. I had done seven fights at light welter, and I remember my first fight like it was yesterday up in Runcorn, and I fucking shit myself. I was boxing for I wanted to turn pro, but Billy Max said, go and have some amateur fights. So I went to a club called Highfield in Old Swan, and first fight up in Runcorn, and I was really skinny. It was like a beanpole, and I had like a dead innocent face, and they gave me these Umbro shorts, and my legs, I was dead aware of how skinny my legs were, and I had a pair of them Albacies out of the bargain baskets out of Freeman Hardy and Willis, and my vest was hanging off me, and you know, when you're sitting there and you're all getting weighed together and you're looking who you're fighting and all that, and I was fighting a lad from the West Wirral, and like there was a lad I was looking at looked like kind of my weight, and this lad from West Wirral was like a welterweight, and I was like 9 stone 10, and anyway, the lad who was like the lighter weight went on before. I thought, I'm not boxing him, and then this other lad was a bruiser, he was looking at me. And I thought, I'm fighting him. And he was like, you know, like one of them lads who grow up quick and they're dead muscly and they got loads of testosterone. And I don't know, I think I have that like innocent looking, like a choir boy. And my mates were all going, man, you're just going to batter this fucking fella, to these girls in the crowd. And they're going, is that Martin Hughes? You're pointing at the other fella. They go, no, that's him. And anyway, he's just as fucking terrified, Billy, terrified, and my mouth was dry, I was pissing every 5 minutes going into the ring. Remember the trainer, Bert Owens, he had to hold me protector so I could have a pee over the protector, and this fella just legged at me and ran over me. He just fucking like a freight train, just ran over me. First 30 seconds of my first fight, I was face down on the canvas. Fucking I jumped up, but I had a great jab. I didn't have not much of a right hand, no left hook, but a jab and long arms, so a little bit like our John, I suppose, that sort of, you know, physique. And I just peppered him, and he couldn't believe it. He couldn't get near me. He just kept on running at me, and I didn't throw one right hand in the whole fight. But his face was purple at the end of the fight, and it was pure terror. And I won my first fight. Fucking hell! Wow! And what an experience.
I know exactly how it feels, man. I remember, I think John put me in with this kid, and he had all fucking badges all over his shorts.
Yeah.
Right, and I think it was my 3rd fight. I mean, fucking hell, lads, how many fights has he had?
Yeah.
All these fucking badges.
Yeah.
You went, lad, they're just swimmer badges. Take no
Is that what John said? Yeah, that's what I mean about him having a calming influence.
Just don't worry about him. And this kid, right, his name was Maddox. He and like you said, mate, he was one of those kids that grew up quick. You know, fucking splattered nose and everything. And I was like big shoulders on him. And he come fucking buffaloing right out from that corner. And he threw everything at me. And I got back down in the first round. I sat down. I think it was my 5th fight, sorry. And it was, I sat down and I was like, fucking throw the towel in.
Yeah.
So I went, no, just keep away, jab, bam. And I lost.
Yeah.
On a majority.
Yeah.
But it was the kid had knocked, I think the kid had 5 fights and knocked every single one of them out.
Yeah, wow.
But he didn't tell me this.
Yeah.
So it was like the fear.
Yeah.
People don't realise the fear that
The adrenaline.
that you go through.
Yeah.
Right, and I've watched something like recently with this young. We'll have a little chat about it at the end of this anyway. But yeah, there's a few stories of like the fight or flight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you won that, you know, how was you feeling? Obviously, you were fucking elated.
You're elated, aren't you?
Yeah.
You feel like you won your first fight. You feel like you won the world title.
Yeah.
You know, but I was sparring at Billy Max with the pro. So he was knocking my head off all the time. So, and I just kept on going back. So I had the second fight then, and I won that. And that was a lad from Kirby. And them Kirby lads, they're all, you know.
Boxing a few of them, like.
And they're up for it, aren't you? You know, some of the clubs around at that time, like the Sunday, Kirby, you know, St. Ambrose, them clubs, in them days as well, you know, there's like pitter-pat now.
Wales, the ABC as well, they were
I trained with Tony Darby,
There's Danny Peters in there.
Danny Peters, Well, I was there when John Hogan was there, and sparred with John and all them, and Mickey Finn, and Terry Wenton. I sparred with Terry Wenton, and Tony Darby was a trainer. That was like a pro gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Franner, you boxed with you trained with Franner, haven't you? Franner Arden, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul's a big kid, mate. Paul's an hard kid. Shovels for hands.
Yeah, I know.
Loads of respect for Paul.
I love him like a brother. I used to love watching him box. One of my heroes was Carlos Monzon, and Carlos Monzon had a really, you know, that pound and jab, knock you out with a jab, and a chopping right hand, and put you out a kip with that. And Paul was like that. I mean, he was to a left hook, but that really solid, like, he'd knock you out with a jab and throw the right hand, that chopping right hand over the top.
Just to finish it off.
Yeah. Yeah, they come up to spar me. They come up for a spar to St. Ambrose off-season. And, you know, Billy took to me when I fought Jimmy Price. Billy took, you know, and he brought them up. I was there and had a spar. And I wasn't in very good shape. It was off-season, like, so I done a round with Fran. And Fran opened up on me a little bit. And then I done a round with Paul. And I threw a sneaky one over the top on Paul. And then legged it for the rest of the round. And then jumped out. I went, I've had enough and all that. Paul King went, yeah, he's not in shape and all that. And I think Paul was ready to put me a kip, really. Yeah.
Fucking lovely fella.
What a lovely man. Got a heart of gold.
So did your career, like, in boxing go far? Did you fought Joey Frost and that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Joey's a hard man as well.
That was a big fight for me, that. Yeah. That was the biggest one. Well, first time I entered the ABAs was the year before, and I had a war with Jimmy Price. And that was a crowd pleaser of a fight. We just stood there and pounded each other out in the middle of the ring. Yeah. Fought Jimmy twice. So the next year, that was like 79. And I remember watching Joey. I used to love watching Joey Frost. He was a bit of a hero of mine. And I seen him knock Alan Mann out in the finals of the ABAs in 15 seconds, which is a record and still is today. Yeah. And Alan Mann was like, he was a tough Scottish lad. I don't think he'd ever been knocked out. And Joey put him a kip with the first punch. I think he hit him with a left hook and then a right hand, flopped him. I was like, whoa, look at him. And he'd beat Lloyd Donegan that year in the...
With Joey?
Before he fought Alan Mann in the
He was a bit of a mad fighter, wasn't he, Lloyd?
Yeah. Well, he won a world title, didn't he?
He was like a whirlwind, wasn't he? Like fucking haymakers.
Yeah. When he beat that Don Curry, he blasted him, didn't he? Blitzed him. Well, but Joey, that year, he went in it was the Olympics the next year. And he's lucky, he should have won a gold at the Olympics. I was watching him in the Olympics. He knocked his first two opponents out. And he fought this, two African opponents. I watched him put this, he devastated. His punches were like, you know, he didn't just knock you out, he put you to sleep. And then he fought a fella called Kruger. He's German. And Joey beat him but they wouldn't show the fight because it was at the time it was like the world politics of America. They boycotted the Moscow Olympics.
Yeah.
So they didn't really mark well for the Brits, and he was fighting an East German national hero, communist country. So they never, they never gave him the decision. Even Kevin Hickey at Crystal Palace, was at Crystal Palace, said it was a daylight robbery. And Joey would have went through and fought John McGarvey in the final, or the Cuban. And then I was watching him, and he's fucking amazing. But he was welterweight, and I was light middle, and I then entered the ABAs again in 80, and he come back from the ABAs, and I thought from the Olympics, I thought he was going to turn pro, but he didn't. He moved up to light middle, and then I had to face the daunting fact that I was fighting him. Whoa, and that was one dinger of a fight. That.
How did that turn out?
Well, me and Sammy Brennan had a rough fight before it, in the semi-finals. But both me and Sammy were aware, whoever won that fight had to go through to fight Joey. And that, like fighting the Kurgan.
Yeah.
The cock of Scotland Road, at the time, was the main lad. And so it was me who won. And I don't know whether I was happy that I won the fight, to be honest. But I geared up for it. Like I didn't. I'd seen a lot of people run away from him, and but fight a negative fight. And I'd seen him knock a lot of people out. And my style was I'd sort of modelled myself on Monzon and Dave Boy Green and people like that. And so I didn't want to turn around and start backpedaling. But my style was like pressure fighter, and I'd stopped quite a few. And I thought it's going to look bad now if I start running away from him. So, I just fight the way I normally fight. So I took the fight to him right from the beginning. And anyway, I was on top of him. I was jabbing his head off, to be honest. And a lot of people, even Joey said, But second round come, and with Joey, if you had a mate, what you've got like is a cage lion, and he's a street fighter. So it just went off. It turned into yeah. So Joey's like threw the head on me a couple of times, and the ref shouting, break and all this, and I'm still punching. And the next thing, I just felt like I'd been hit with a fucking hammer. My head exploded, and I'm doing like Shaking Stevens impersonations. Around fucking, my hand's gone through the ropes. And I remember I heard the voice of my granddad, because my granddad's old school boxer, used to go through all the fights with me, and he used to say, if you ever get knocked down, take the count. But I tried to jump up, and I wobbled everywhere, but I went down on one knee, and I got up at 9, and they counted me out. But it's the only time I ever made the boxing news. And I'm fucking spread eagled like that. Doesn't say, and it's, spread eagled. Yeah, the only time I was ever in the boxing news. Yeah, but what a fighter Joey was.
How's Joey? What's he up to? Is he?
Well, I had to bury with him about 2 years ago, up in County Road. He's sound, and we're mates now.
Yeah.
And, met a couple of his family and some of his daughters in town when I'd been on the door, and when I was waiting for the Lynches, and these girls, he said, my dad's a boxer. I said, what's his name? He said, Joey Frost, I said, do I know him? Fucking hell.
Put me to bed.
I don't even know where the fuck my glasses are or my keys are, or I always say that's Joey's fault.
Was that your last fight?
No, it wasn't. I carried on after that fight. It opened doors for me. Funnily enough, I got knocked out, but I got a lot of respect. And they put me on the England squad. And I was down at Crystal Palace then. And I was, I was going to get my England vest. And fucking unlucky me there, because I was sparring with Greg Evans and Billy's, and I hit him in the elbow and broke my hand. Okay. So there was my England vest. So
that was it?
Yeah. But I was with the best there. I was with Brian Schumacher. I was sparring with Brian and Terry Marsh.
Seri Marsh got put away for fucking attempted murder on Frank Warren. Was Seri Marsh, wasn't it?
Allegedly.
Yeah, but he was only man for a year.
They tried to say it was Brian.
Yeah, Brian Shoemaker.
Yeah, they were best of mates.
Brian got a big one as well, didn't he? He's on a life sentence. He's out now.
Oh, my heart was broken for Brian because he was a great lad. When we were at Crystal Palace, he was like the head of the England squad, totally together, you know. And he was like, he's dead funny, Brian. He always reminded me of Russ Abbott. He's like a stand-up comedian. And him and Terry were the best of mates because Brian was, you know, in the Navy. Terry was a Marine. So they were both on the same boxing team together. So they were really good mates. Yeah, what a shame. The way...
Tell you what, though, I've come across Brian a few times in the shovel and on the out. And he's always been respectful.
Yeah.
And a gentleman.
Yeah.
Not one to be messed with.
No.
The Screws were fucking terrified of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, he had them tethered when he was away. You know, when I'm talking like in the early days in Walton when he first got remanded, and you know he was expecting that sentence.
Yeah.
You know, it was quite sad. But yeah, some of these people, you know, you're bringing up a lot of fucking names. You know,
I know, I'm a bad name dropper, you know.
Well, don't worry about it. But you've you know, you've also done a lot in acting, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you know, your boxing career has led to acting as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I actually went to a show, and it must have been about 6-7 years ago now, in the Al Barcelona.
Yeah.
Do you know the Dome?
Yeah.
It was a night out with work. I was working for the NHS, and it was a works night out, and we went to this play. Jake Abraham was. I think he'd written it, Jake, hadn't he? I'm not too sure.
No, it was Fairlong and Power. Halos.
Was it the Halos? Yeah, and you were in it.
Yeah.
And I got to speak to you
at
the end, and the first time I met you, there was who else was in there? Oh, fucking Ziggy.
Yeah, George
Wilson. George has been on this podcast.
George is one good mate.
I seen George, right, when I first met George at that Halos fucking at the end. Well, he's a bit arrogant, him, you know what I mean? Because he came across a bit like that. But then got to know him over the years.
Yeah.
He's a fucking boss.
He's boss, isn't he?
Yeah, he's great.
He's dead funny.
He's just sad. Was it Philip Olivier?
Philip Olivier,
He was in it as well,
Lindsay Tremaine.
Lindsay Tremaine, yeah.
I've been in that play 3 times.
Yeah, it was funny, that.
Yeah.
Jake played a good role in it, didn't he?
Who?
Jake Abraham.
Oh, Jay's fucking, yeah. I know.
Did he have Tourette's?
Yeah, Tourette's syndrome, Jake. Yeah, Jake's just a natural comedian. I grew up with Jake.
Talk about, you were in a fucking Liverpool fucking, like, cult movie called Going Off Big Time.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Haven't you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Do you know what, Bill? I want to see your film, so I've got to watch that now and read your book.
I've got to watch fucking Going Off Big Time.
I've seen you talking about it.
It's an experience, yeah.
When you're talking about that lad getting killed.
Yeah, that was
everything going in slow motion.
Yeah, you couldn't fucking you know, you'd have to actually experience something like that to know what I'm going on about. Like, time really slows down. It's just so fucking weird. It's so surreal. Yeah. Because it's so surreal. Yeah. And it's so unnatural.
And it's the adrenaline's in your body kicking.
And I'm like, I swear, man, everything just slowed right down where you could just go boom, 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 boom. And I remember Darren G talking about when he had the hip put on him and he was in, I think it was the Galaxy, and the bullets were going through the kid and through the window, and it was all going on in slow motion. Yeah. It was like the fucking Matrix. Yeah. I can believe it. You know, that's what your brain sort of takes a fucking different fucking realm, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to say I mean, I've written about violence in my films, and I've seen a lot of violence. And Dead Man's Cards was about, you know, just a little... It gets shot in it, the character. And when I was on the doors, when I was working on the doors, it's autobiographical, I was fucking terrified of getting shot, me. You know, and they had that video around at the time where they all got shot at the state.
I remember that.
And they battered some kid from Netherfield Road. He come back and weighed them all in, shot them all.
Yeah, I remember. I know both of them. I was away with both of them, right? And fucking.
It was funny that because they done it like
Al Capone.
Yeah.
Scarface,
Scarface.
That
and
was
the black and white, it looked like a little film at first, Universal Studios.
Yeah.
But I was terrified of getting shot. Me when
you were on the doors, weren't you, at the time?
Yeah. I was working with Darren Smith and Andy.
You big Darren?
Yeah.
Jim, my mate?
Yeah.
Always nice.
Yeah. We were working on a club called the Owl at the Moon. And it was fucking mayhem in there. The claret on you every night. Fucking hell. Darren and Andy Keegan, they were I was working for the firm and I was working next door. Well, I was actually working in a really posh bar up the street. And I used to see all the ambulances and the police outside. And I used to think, what's fucking going on down there? It was always, the bar I was in was very bourgeois and all, like, architects and,
paintings.
Yeah, it was all sorts of the after theatre crowd. No? Yeah. There was just mayhem going down there. And I don't know what possessed me, but I seen one of my mates who took it over the door and he said, there's some nights going. So I ended up working in the Rosie O'Grady's at the bottom. And Darren and Andy, they've been given the job of cleaning the club up. Because they come from the buzz, them two.
Yeah.
And they were both like about 18 stone. And so there was new management. And they had this DJ, it was a hard house. But they were like given the job of cleaning the drugs up in there. So I was working next to them and there was all people flying out the door like in a Western, just fucking, like in Blazing Saddles. I was like, what's going on there this night? This big hefty girl about 18 stone come flying. It's like a comedy. And a load of fellas come out. She was lying on the floor and it was like two passers by. The brutality of it. You like walked from London walking past and they just barred everyone out. They just wouldn't let no one in. And they barred a load of lads out from the area. And I was standing there on O'Neill's and about 20 lads from the area come down. There was Darren and Andy and his mate fronting them. And none of the lads on this door wanted to know. We were all in the same firm. Yeah. But I went up and stood with them. And my knees were wobbling. But, sort of made the front like it was all right. Because there was loads of these lads from the area. So they went, we like him, get him up. So I ended up working with Darren and Andy Keegan for me sins.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Fucking couldn't get a better job with two better people.
I'll tell you what, like backup wise, them two, like I was working upstairs and if it went off, they were there for you. And about like 18 stone lads, they're coming through the crowd, they're like a juggernaut. Just everyone gets fucking out the way and everyone's a bit terrified of Darren. And Andy the same. But they done a good job there, they cleaned that club up.
Yeah.
Cleaned it up. There was no drugs, no grafting in there at all.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So
you had a few escapades on the doors over the years.
Oh yeah. It drove me insane eventually. Because I started with Dan and Andy and I was like working on the shit house upstairs or by the DJ box. And they were downstairs, it was their door. But they fell out with the manager and they left. So I got promoted from the shithouse doorman to the head doorman of a really moody, rough club. And they said that I could go with them, but I like the managers myself, so they thought it was a bit of a traitor really. They went to another club somewhere and I stayed there.
The doorman today, you're not like they were back then.
No.
The fucking, it's like, mate, I know an old sound like the back of my hand, and I know most of the doormen. And some of them are out of town, some of them can't speak a fucking word of English, and you've got, I don't think half of them will back you up. No. There's a good few stand-up lads there in town that get fucking paired up with a bad sausage, right, because, he can have a go one kid and the other one, he's just there. He might as well just fucking be like a fucking spectator. in a fucking barroom fight.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I see now.
Yeah.
But it's...
Well, they call them shape fillers, don't they?
Shape fillers.
Yeah, shape fillers.
Yeah, it's just a different era, different fucking way about it them days, you know what I mean? Everything's licensed and fucking, you know, CSCS cards to fucking...
Well, I felt like a lightweight with Darren and Andy. And I was in ABA, you know, I've been in the ABAs 3 times. But some of the lads on the door now who turn up, you know, talk about, you know, being a doorman on mother care.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be on the door, you know.
I agree.
And they get it hiding and they just get sacked and they put someone else in.
I've seen it, mate. I've seen people getting fucking doorman, like getting knocked out and the fucking backup that's with them fucking just gets off.
Yeah. They leg it.
Just leg it.
Yeah.
And throw the fucking badge in the next day and that's it.
Yeah.
So what happened? So going off big time, what happened there, lad?
Going off big time. The film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Working with Neil and that was great. Played the heavy in that. I play a villain a lot. Or
typecasted as a villain.
A villain or like the gob-shaped boyfriend of someone or the abusive boyfriend of someone. Like I've been Tina Malone's fella in, you know, two plays. Worked with her quite a lot. Played their ale tank boyfriend in Lost Souls. Same with Margie Clark. I was Darren Dobbs, villainous boyfriend on Corrie.
She's fucking sound, Margie.
She's boss Margie, yeah.
I've known Margie since I was about fucking 5.
Well, I worked with her twice. I was in the Blonde Fist.
Yeah. Got
knocked out in the first scene of that.
Was that over here that he filmed that? Because I know went over the States, didn't he?
Yeah.
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 Because it was Alessa Brezhnev and she first shook off.
Yeah.
It was a brother that, weren't it?
Well, Frank was my agent. Yeah.
Oh, Frank got he got our Kathleen the job as well.
Yeah.
My auntie was working on that because she was Margie's best mate.
Yeah. He got me loads of work, Frank, yeah.
Yeah, that was in the States as well, wasn't it?
He was hilarious, Frank, though.
What's he doing now, Frank?
I don't know. I wish he'd be an agent again. He was a great agent, yeah.
He's done well.
Yeah.
At one point, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then it was.
A great writer.
Did you ever get any like work on Brookie or anything like that?
I started on Brookie.
You did?
Got knocked out on Brookie as well. It was a gay bash, yeah. I'm always getting sparked, you know, in the telly world. There was a family called the Collinses, and they had a son, Gordon, and we all turned up like skinheads, picking on them. We were gay bashers, and they come out and they beat me up. I was showing like I was a hard kid, shouting at them, and these 2 gay lads battered me and grabbed me hair, and we were all in like National Front outfits at the time, and Union Jack shirts, gang of Nazi skinheads, and Billy Corgell come out and chased us. Hit one of us, and all 8 of us fell over and ran off. But that was my first talking roller.
Is it?
Yeah, I was with the ART with Ricky Tomlins, who was my agent at that time.
You've done a little bit then, haven't you? Your life's been quite fucking...
Yeah.
Like, you've gone from fucking like boxing to acting and, you know... What's your life like now, as you're getting older?
It's great now.
Did you get married with kids and...
Well, what happened with me was I sort of caved in. I had a breakdown when I was on them doors, and for a long time I was all over the place. It was like I fell in the cesspit, you know. I was drinking a lot, substance abuse, you know. It was about 20 years in mayhem.
So you went down that hole of abyss.
Yeah. Well, and I've been in recovery the past 4 years. I didn't realise I had a breakdown.
No.
I was still going, you know, when you've had a breakdown, you don't necessarily go, oh, I've had a breakdown.
You're not even aware of it?
No, it's only being in council. Now I realised, I went back to everything where it happened, and it was like, my nan had died in my arms, and I'd left their dog. I used to take the dog out, and I left the dog in the yard butch, and I was really gutted when my nan died in my arms. That when everything went in slow motion and surreal, and then I had to go and get the dog put down about a week later. I neglected the dog while she wasn't well, and sitting there that day waiting for to phone the RSPCA to come and put the dog down. It was died of a broken heart, but had pneumonia, been left in the yard, and I blame myself for it. And sitting there with the dog waiting to get it put down for an hour, and so I didn't realise that's when I had the breakdown, because and then I was on the Wonder Bar and I got stabbed there. So it's like a few things all happening at the same time. And I was still trying to carry on my acting career. And I was actually playing Bill Sykes in Oliver. I was working on the Wonder Bar and all this happened. So my acting career was going all right. I'd been on Corrie, been on Emmerdale. But that filleted me. And the week I got stabbed, I never showed up to be on. I ended up like they had to get someone else in on Oliver to play Bill, and then he had a seizure. Then they had me back in, so I'm on stage playing Bill Sykes with a big stab wound in my back.
What happened there?
It was all the firms going in there. I ended up. It was sort of like the 5-year journey working with Darren and Andy. From the Owl at the Moon, these managers bought an even moodier bar called the Wonder Bar, but it wasn't wonderful in there. It was rough. It was a posh bar, but then all the firms were coming in there. And this night it went off. It was one of them like 10 to 2, security to the cocktail lounge, and I've legged round, and it just turned into a big pitch battle. With firms, there was firms from everywhere, Eighton, Scotty, Wavertree, Garston. It was just a really rough bar. So this lad coming around the corner, he'd had all his legs slashed, and he was pointing to this other lad, and I jumped on the lad, and I'm well on the lad throwing a few digs in, but I felt like I'd been winded. But I'd been stabbed. And we got outside, and it was like Goodfellas outside. We jumping on this fella's head who'd stabbed me, and who'd stabbed this other lad. And Darren was there. Darren and Andy were over the road. They were in the bar. Because, I was working for another firm then, but they still liked me, even though, I suppose I'd been a bit of a traitor waiting for this other firm. But Darren come over, and Darren went fucking mad. Darren broke the lad's jaw who stabbed me. But then a couple of days later, I was on stage playing Bill Sykes. So I've been stabbed and I got shot on fucking London Bridge 3 times that week. And my life was a bit abstract. And I was in the pub buying everyone drinks and spending all my money. It's like bipolar behaviour.
Yeah.
And then I ended up badly on the ale with a really, bad drink problem and substance abuse. And it was... I only realised it the past... I was like 20 years of a haze. It's only I went to the brink, handed myself into the brink, and sharp. And I've had counselling and all that, so I pieced it all together, what happened.
So you've had, in the recovery process now, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you know what? There's a lot of people that watch this podcast who can identify and relate with, addiction and recovery, and the fucking depression and the anxiety and the dark days, and years have gone by, and even people trying to claw their way out of fucking addiction.
Yeah.
It's no joke.
No.
It's not a joke, mate. I know exactly, where you're at, how you're feeling. You're craving fucking a bit of self-worth and a bit of attention, a bit of love, a bit of kindness. Yeah. Someone to stop and say you're okay.
Yeah.
But we're so wrapped up in our own fucking thinking and, our own madness that we just think we can just glide through. Oh, I am alright, I'm okay, I'm sound.
Yeah.
That was your answer.
Yeah.
You didn't have the fucking... the humility to go, look, I'm fucking hurting here, mate. Fucking, I need some help.
Well, I was partying. I wasn't partying. I was self-harming.
Exactly.
I was killing myself off and killing, drinking it and snorting it. And I'd take anything. I mean, I think drinks me a drug of choice, but I'd take anything. And, wow, I didn't realise I was 20 years of mayhem. It was just like, and I remember when I was in recovery, and I was in Sharp, and I got a letter off me wife who had just walked out on. I had no empathy. I was suffering from post-traumatic stress after the stabbing as well, I think. And I was like, wow, I had a wife. I forgot. It's like I had amnesia. Yeah. And since then, I've done the 12 steps, you know, and stuck with it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You grow from them. I always like speak about, like, you know, when I'm at a meeting about the 12 steps, and I've done them, you know, and it's a program of awareness and you know, growth and healing. Yeah. You know, and you find out who the fuck you are and how you operate. Yeah. You know what went wrong. Yeah. Your defects, your character. Yeah. Your flaws. Yeah. How to fucking take responsibility and be accountable for your life. Yeah. Right. How to make amends and accept. Yeah. Fucking when you're wrong and promptly admit it. Yeah. And make them changes. So it's and it's internal. It's fucking in here. So I'm fucking totally with you on that one, man.
Well, I'm always going to be in making amends. I've done the 12 steps, but I'm in the 8 and 9. I'm still all the crazy, funky stuff I've done.
And you're 4 years clean.
4 years clean, yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. And my brain's become active again. Yeah. I've read the Bible and studied it. Didn't just read it. I've read the Bible because when I first got in, you know, in recovery, and I was going to meetings and that, and talking about the higher power, I strictly, I was met a Buddhist scale, become a Buddhist, started chanting for my sobriety. So I was viewing everything like the higher power as like the mystic law in Buddhism. So instead of relating the 12 steps to Christianity, I was relating it to the Buddhism that I was in, I'm Nietzsche and Buddha said chant for world peace and all that. After all the violence, you know, but so I thought, you know, a lot of people you see where people become like Christians and born again Christians, because when you get your sobriety into serenity, you feel like you're inhabited by something.
Something's a better peace.
Yeah.
Solace.
So I wanted to know about the Bible, because I thought, how can I be an atheist if I've never even read the Bible? I mean, not many people have. So I read the Bible. I used the clarity of mind that sobriety's give me, and I've studied the Bible now for a year and a half.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and that's been a journey. I only finished it about 2 months ago.
Did you enjoy it? Very violent, isn't it?
It's extremely violent. There's stuff in there in that Bible. They don't, I mean, you know, we only get taught certain things at school. You know, when you go in the Old Testament, eating babies and wiping all villages out. And they've got a covenant with their God. He's like a storm god, isn't he? He's a, you know, he's cruel. Yeah. You know, and they're wiping out, you know, tribes of people and saying, you know, we've got a covenant with this is ours. In the Lebanon, in the savannahs.
But you know what, Martin, I've had a really interesting fucking chat with you, mate, and you're a very interesting character, and you know, we're coming to the end now of this podcast, but I always ask my guest at the end, you know, a pearl of wisdom, right? So what would you say to a young Martin Hughes coming through the doors of life? If you had an opportunity to speak to yourself now, at a young age, what advice or guidance would you offer yourself, just to finish off with?
Wow. I would say always be honest to yourself. And, you know, if you're honest to yourself, and, you know, you're going to be honest with other people. Yeah.
Brilliant. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.